Hi, and welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where I answer... I have an itch. I can't reach it. I know exactly what will help. Spaceship. That's not it. Mr. Snugglesworth, I've been looking all over for you. I mean, I'm saving him for research. Ah, here it is. Ah, my trusty back scratcher. Now I can finally reach the itch. It's like having really long fingernails. Anyway, like I was saying, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where you send in your questions and I find out the answers. I've been thinking about fingernails lately because of this question.
What would happen if you never cut your fingernails? Would they keep on growing forever?
Yeah, imagine if they did. I'd be able to reach the itch on my back and look like a vampire on Halloween. I am Count Harrison. I have come... Hey, is that an olive on my fingernail? Gross. Now, I don't know if our fingernails will grow forever, but by the end of the show, I'll find out the answer. And all kinds of things about how our bodies grow and change. Now, here's a question from Rivian.
How do we grow?
This is a water-expandable dinosaur. Check this out. I thought about what would happen in a swimming pool if just adding water worked for humans. Check out this animation I made. Luckily for pools, we don't grow like that. A human starts out as a tiny embryo inside her mother, then grows into a baby, becomes a child, and then finally develops into an adult. Lots of animals do that. But how? I checked, and growing happens because of two things. One, the genes that you inherit from your parents. Every cell in our body has genes that we get from both of our parents. Genes carry the information that gives us our special traits, like the color of our hair and skin, and our height. So there's not much you can do about that. Two, there is something you can do. Eat nutritious food and exercise. That will help you grow and regrow cells. Hey, so if I ate all this celery, would that be diet or exercise? Anyway, here's a question from Kira.
Why do we stop growing?
If we didn't stop growing, we'd hit our heads on the ceiling, go through the roof, bump our heads on trees, and smash into the moon. I guess it's a good thing that we stopped growing at some point, but I'm not exactly sure why it happens. I read that newborn babies grow 1 to 1.5 inches per month. Okay, if a baby grows that fast, then according to my calculations, it would be 44 inches when it's 2 years old, 56 inches when it's 3 years old, and wait a second, 14 feet when it's 9. What? Ah! You're gonna make my head explode. To answer your question, Kira, please welcome my special guest, Dr. John Mitchell. Oh, that is one scary dude.
Hi, Harrison. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to my show.
Thank you.
So, can you tell me why we stopped growing?
Well, if we continued to grow at the rate that we did as a baby, which, as you mentioned before, is about 1 inch every month, we would grow, well, as big as a whale, really.
Hey, baby, get your own sea aquarium.
Yeah, why doesn't that happen?
Well, it's interesting. We start off growing very fast, but if we look at our bones, and this is an X-ray of a small baby's hand, we can see that it's got all the bones that we see here, but we can't see all the bones very well.
Dr. Mitchell compares the X-ray picture of a baby's hand to a grown-up hand, like the one on the skeleton. That's an X-ray of a grown-up hand. And that's the baby's hand. There's lots more space between the bones. And check out the fingers. There are big bones and tiny bones. I found out from Dr. Mitchell that as we grow older, the tiny bones and the big bones join together and the space between them disappears.
As a baby, we have about 270 bones, but as adults, we only have 206 bones.
Oh.
It's not really the fact that we're losing bones, but as we mature, those bones will fuse together. Where this is really important is our skull. If we look at a skull, we can see that there's sutures in a skull, and that's actually caused from bones fusing together. We need lots of mobility in our skull early on because our brain is growing very fast.
Oh, that's why there's a soft spot in a baby's head.
That's right. But after a few years, our bones have fused in our skull because our brain is not growing as fast anymore.
I have a question from Alicia, and I think you can help find the answer for it, so let's check it out.
Do girls grow faster than boys?
So, Amanda and Christian, welcome to Finding Stuff Out.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. So, you're both 12 years old, but you're not the same size. So, does that mean girls grow faster than boys?
They do at some times during childhood, but they generally also mature faster. Now, boys continue to grow at a later age, and they finish growing later than girls.
Right.
And boys eventually will grow taller than girls on average.
That reminds me of a question from Alexander.
How tall will I be when I grow up?
Yeah, is there a way to figure that out, Dr. John?
Well, actually, there's a formula that can help us estimate our final adult height. It's not totally accurate, but we can use it for predicting our height.
That sounds perfect for this week's... Uh-oh, do try this at home. So this is Dr. John's formula. As you can see, you do your dad's height plus your mom's height, and if you're a boy, you add 5 inches, and if you're a girl, you subtract 5 inches. Then you divide the whole thing by 2. So my mom is 60 inches, plus my dad's height, he is 69 inches, plus 5 inches because I'm a boy, and then you divide that whole thing by 2. So according to this calculation, I'm going to be 5 foot 7 inches.
However, if you've got all the short genes in your family or all the tall genes, you could be plus or minus 4 inches from there. So anywhere from about 5'3" to about 5'11".
Okay, so what are your results?
67.
So that's approximately 5'7". How tall are you now?
5'8".
5'8". So we see already you probably got some of your parents' taller genes.
Wow. And what about you, Christian?
I got 65.
65 inches, so that's 5'5".
Exactly. How tall are you now?
4'8".
So we would expect on average that we would reach up to 5'5". You got a little bit more room to grow.
Wow.
Will I grow taller or I will stay this height forever?
Generally, girls will continue to grow approximately 2 years after they finish their puberty. So if you haven't finished with your puberty yet, you're going to still continue to grow.
So that means I'll be taller?
I don't give exact predictions, but I could say right now that you're going to be taller than you are.
There's one main thing that I find cool about this. It's cool, basically. That's all I have to say about this. This is like cool.
Well, thanks, Dr. John, for being on my show.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and Amanda and Christian, I'll see you guys later.
All right.
But sometimes you can't predict how tall you're going to be by looking at your parents.
Who's the tallest person in the world and who's the shortest person in the world?
I checked, and the tallest person in the world is a man named Sultan Kozin. Oh, hey, he's 253 centimeters tall. That's 8 feet 3 inches. Oh. I also checked and found out that the shortest person in the world is a man named Chandra Bahadur Dangi. Oh, hey, he's 55 centimeters tall. That's 21.5 inches. Both of their parents were normal height, so that just goes to show that formula isn't always right. Yeah.
How can I make myself grow taller?
The Flat Earth Corner! Step right up and take one sip of this here elixir, and you'll be instantly a good 4 feet taller. It'll get rid of warts, too. Oh, and I also have this handy-dandy neck-stretching contraption in the back of my wagon. 1 second, I'll go grab it. Oh, oh, steady now. Oh, Once upon a time, people thought you could use elixirs or stretching machines to grow taller. Nowadays, we know better. In 1850, the average North American man stood about 5 feet 7 inches and weighed about 146 pounds. By the 1980s, the average North American man stood about 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed about 174 pounds. What was the big difference? Diet. In the 1850s, lots of people couldn't afford or couldn't get things like meat and fresh milk, which help your bones and muscles grow. But by the 1980s, it became a lot easier for most people to get good food. Healthy food costs less now than it did in 1850, and it's way easier to find. Exercise helps you build muscles too. And getting lots of sleep is important too, because when you're asleep, your body releases hormones that help you grow. Lucky for us, when we grow, our skin grows along with our body. Some animals don't have it so easy. Here's a question from Tefania.
How do snakes shed their skin?
To answer your question, Tefania, he knows about things that are scaly and wriggly, cold-blooded and wiggly. Here's Pat Benatar.
Hey, Harrison, check this skin out.
Whoever that belongs to needs to try a gentler exfoliant. Thanks for coming on my show, Pat.
It's my pleasure.
So, the snake's skin is here, but what happened to the rest of the snake?
Actually, I have it right down here. I'm just gonna pull it out and show you. This is a boa constrictor. And here she is.
Whoa, the skin is there, but the snake is there.
It grew out of its skin, basically. And snakes, when they grow out of their skin, they grow new skin underneath, and they slide out of the old skin.
Tefania, I found out from Pat that to shed its skin, a snake rubs its nose against hard things like rocks. So its skin starts to separate from its head. And then it just crawls out. So why does it do that?
Well, it's part of it is that it's outgrown the skin, and part of it is that it's actually worn the skin out.
This thing is heavy. Can you take it back
Yeah,
now?
sure, not a
Before
problem.
I fall over here.
It's a big one. She's over 40 pounds.
40 pounds, wow.
But also, if there's any parasites on the old skin, all those parasites come off with it.
Parasites are tiny bugs that suck a snake's blood. Same as what fleas do on a dog or a cat.
I brought something really cool. It's actually a fire salamander. This is Salem.
That's a salamander.
That's a salamander, yeah.
Oh, I heard that they can grow back their legs and their tails if they lose them.
It's an amazing thing, yeah. If it gets its arm bitten off or a leg bitten off, it'll grow back the arm, digits, and everything.
That's awesome.
Would you like to hold them, Harrison?
Sure. Oh, it's like wet and slimy. Oh, it's so weird. Well, thanks, Pat, for being on my show, and Storm, and Sally, of course.
Well, thanks for having me, Harrison. It's been a pleasure.
Why do seniors get wrinkles?
To answer your question, Priscilla, I decided to go to a place that can make me grow up really fast. And here to turn me into a senior citizen is Stan Edmonds, head of makeup design for film and television here at Vancouver Film School. Hey.
Welcome, Harrison.
So why do people get wrinkles?
Well, there's a lot to talk about regarding that, and why don't you sit down? We got a few hours to go over it.
Sure. A few days ago, I went to the film school, and they put goop all over my head and hands, which hardened into a cast. Then they poured rubbery stuff inside the cast to make fake skin that fit my face and hands perfectly. Stan tells me that aging has a lot to do with gravity.
Well, as people age, sometimes you gain a little bit of weight as you get older, and so the weight of the sides of your face and your neck will start to droop, just with the force of gravity.
So if I lived my life upside down like a bat, then I wouldn't get wrinkles, right?
Can you imagine living upside down? You'd have a head full of dizziness.
As you grow older, your skin loses its elasticity and has less spring to snap back into place so wrinkles can form. Ultraviolet rays from the sun also give you wrinkles.
Kids don't get wrinkles for a while because they haven't been in the sun, they're young, their faces haven't moved and aged and weathered.
So what can I do to prevent getting wrinkles and deteriorating?
What you can do is drink lots of water. That's the #1 health and beauty secret.
Oh.
Use moisturizer and use sunscreen when you're in the sun.
And now, for the crowning touch, boys and girls, the senior version of me.
It's time for the big reveal. Oh, I'm bald and bald. I look kind of like my grandpa.
You look like my grandfather.
Really? I am your grandfather.
Why are butterflies first a caterpillar?
Well, Emma, that can best be answered with a song. Life cycle, metamorphosis. Sometimes something else before it's what it is. Transformation, alteration, wait and you will see what turns into a butterfly and what it used to be. An embryo, a larva, a pupa, imago. All stages of the same creature so different as they grow.
Yeah.
Life cycle, metamorphosis. Sometimes something else before it's what it is. Caterpillars aren't the only creatures that change their form, which leads us to... My Great Challenge! So now I am rejoined by Christian.
Yeehaw!
And Amanda.
Hi.
Are you ready to take my great challenge?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, good stuff. Because on today's great challenge, you guys have to match the picture of the baby form of an animal to the adult animal. Whoever gets the most correct answers at the end of it will be the winner. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So there's the baby animal. Is it A, a leopard, B, a cheetah, or C, a hyena? What do you think it is?
B.
B, a cheetah? That is correct. There we go. When it grows up, it's going to be fast. Grown-up cheetahs can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.4 seconds. That's as fast as a sports car. There's the baby animal. Is it A, an eel, B, a salamander, or C, a frog? Okay, so Christian got it first.
I think it's A.
You think it's A? That's incorrect. What do you think?
C.
C is a frog. That's correct.
Yeah. I'm beating you.
Adult frogs can live on land, but the land must be near a pond, swamp, or another wet place. They lay their eggs in the water, and that's where they hatch. There's the baby animal. Is it A, a swan, B, a duck, or C, a goose?
I think it's B.
You think it's B. You would be incorrect. Amanda, do you have a?
C.
C is also incorrect, so it is actually A. It was a swan. Swans' necks grow to be very long. It helps them reach food underwater. And there we go. Is it A, a caterpillar, B, a ladybug, or C, a monarch butterfly? Christian.
I think it is B.
B, you're correct. There we go.
Yay!
Some say they resemble alligators, and they have an appetite like an alligator, too. Fortunately, ladybug larvae like to eat the bugs that eat the plants that we like to eat. So they're a big help to us. Here's our baby animal. Is it A, an emu, B, a kiwi, or C, a penguin?
C.
C, you're correct. There we go.
Penguin.
The emperor penguin grows the largest of any penguin species. They weigh up to 40 kilos. Okay, so here's the last one. There it is. Is it A, a chihuahua, B, a guinea pig, or C, a rabbit? Christian was first.
Let me see. C.
C, it is not a rabbit.
A.
A, yeah, it is a chihuahua. There we go. A chihuahua is the smallest dog in the world in both weight and height. So the points are 4 for Amanda and 1 for Christian. Amanda, you're the winner. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thumbs, yo, fist. Bro fist.
This growth and change journey has led me back to the original question.
What would happen if you never cut your fingernails? Would they keep on growing forever?
The big answer is... Well, Trayson, that's one thing that would happen if you never cut your fingernails. You couldn't play drums. Fingernails grow at an average of 3 millimeters a month, so it would take a really long time. But if you're patient, you can grow really long fingernails, like this. That's the longest anybody's ever grown their nails, about 89 centimeters. I can't imagine what they'd come in handy for, especially because real fingernails become curly when they get that long. But if you don't cut them, they'll keep growing and growing and growing and growing and... You get it. Anyway, before I go, Mr. Snugglesworth, didn't you say you had an itchy back? Mr. Snugglesworth, these are fake. You know I could take them off. Mr. Snugglesworth, I told you you were for research, but that was a joke, you know, right? Anyway, it doesn't really matter because I don't need Mr. Snugglesworth anymore. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out. Mr. Snugglesworth, where are you? Come back. Hi, and welcome to Finding Stuff Out. I've been thinking about this globe lately because of a question from Kobe.
Why is the world so important?
Yeah, why is the world so important? Couldn't we and all the other creatures on Earth just get in a spaceship and go to another planet? Or a space station? Or something? I don't know if the Earth is really important, but by the end of the episode, I'll find out. Here's a question from Marion.
Why do polar bears don't live here?
Before I answer your question, Marion, I did some research, and here's a song that kind of sums it all up.
Habitat, that's where creatures living at. Some in the water, some in the trees, some in the desert, some in your cheese. Food and water, shelter, space, that's what you need to live in a place. Yeah, food and water, shelter, space, that's what you need to live in a place. Habitat. A creature's living at a habitat. A creature's living at a habitat. And many other things, a habitat.
Well, Marion, I guess you don't live in Northern Ontario, or other northern parts of Canada, or Russia, or Norway, or Alaska, or Greenland, because polar bears definitely live there. But I checked, and if brown bears live near you, then you could say the polar bear's cousins live near you. That's because polar bears and brown bears share a common ancestor. Just like if you have a cousin, you and your cousins have the same grandparents. A really long time ago, polar bears' ancestors left the south, like where you live, Marion. Then, as they moved to the north, they adapted to the Arctic habitat. The Arctic is very cold and has a lot of ice and water, so polar bears have a lot of body fat and heavy fur coats to keep them warm. They also have big feet, like paddles, to help them get around in the water and on the ice. Their fur is transparent. That means it's clear, so that they can blend in with the snow and ice and sneak up on their favorite food, seals. In the cities and towns where most of us live, our habitat, polar bears wouldn't be able to find the things they need to live. Please, anyone, where's a good seal restaurant? Plus, it's too warm.
Ooh, lucky me.
Why can't penguins fly?
Well, Serena, for starters, a polar bear lives up here in the northern hemisphere. So if a penguin lived up here, he would have to learn to fly, or he'd be eaten by the polar bears. You look really tasty there, Mr. Penguin. Luckily for Mr. Penguin, he lives down here in the southern hemisphere.
You can't get me now.
Oh! Penguins can't fly because they're too heavy. But in their habitat, that's actually an advantage. Their body fat protects them from the cold, and their bones are solid instead of hollow, which helps them stay underwater. Their wings act like giant flippers to help them swim fast so they can sneak up on their favorite food, fish. Now here's a question from Aiden.
How many habitats are in the world?
How many habitats are in the world? Let's see, there's mountains, marshes, tidal pools, deserts, prairies, rainforests, and that's just some of them. There's even this grilled cheese sandwich, which I found in my drawer, and there's definitely something living on that. Hundreds of thousands of plants, 8 million species of animals, 7 continents, thousands of islands, air, water, land, head getting warm, brain overloading! You're gonna make my head explode! To answer your question, Aiden, I've come to this special place by the ocean, full of amazing creatures. And to help show me around is my special guest, Allison Roberts, who's a biologist and naturalist. So, Allie, today I'm trying to find the answer to the mind-boggling question, how many habitats are there? But first, what is a habitat?
Well, a habitat is basically anything a creature needs to survive. So it's the shelter, the space, the water. It can be tiny. Like you'd need a microscope to see it. Or it can be gigantic, like the whole entire planet could be one habitat.
Whoa.
But you know what, today let's talk about kind of in between.
Okay.
Let's talk about the intertidal zone.
Intertidal zone? What's that?
Well, we're standing right in the middle of it.
Whoa.
Inter means between, and tidal, between the tides.
Right.
So you need a place that's between the high tide, which would be way up there, and the lowest tide, way down there.
How many creatures are living here?
Well, there's tons of creatures living here, but they have to be pretty special creatures to survive.
A sand dollar. Too bad I can't spend it. Mmm, seaweed. People eat this stuff all the time. Mmm.
Check out all these hermit crabs.
Whoa, there's tons. Oh, and look at the little small one.
Hermit crabs are pretty weird because they have a really soft shell, and so they have to find another shell to give them a home. Like this is a snail, but when that snail dies and the shell is left on the beach,
right?
Another animal, the hermit crab, will move in. In the tide pool, even fish can survive.
Oh, weird.
But check out what this fish hides in.
Whoa, it's the same color as the seaweed.
Yeah, look at how many creatures there are in this tiny little space.
Yeah.
Millions of creatures in the intertidal zone.
Allison brought me to a habitat right next to the intertidal zone, the forest. So this habitat has everything that other animals need to survive, right?
Again, the forest is filled with millions of creatures that this is perfect habitat for.
So like these leaves or the twigs or the dirt or the trees or anything in this forest could be a habitat for a creature or an animal, right?
Yeah, everything's a habitat, but then all combined, it's also one habitat.
So it's like a habitat inside of a habitat, inside of a bigger habitat, inside of a bigger habitat, inside of a bigger habitat. Okay, I'm gonna stop before my head explodes here. Whoa, look at the shell. I should take it home.
Oh, but you have to remember, that shell is somebody's habitat.
Right, so I should leave it here.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere we go, some creatures, that's their habitat. So we have to respect each other's habitats.
And treat it like it's our own.
Exactly. Would you want somebody to pick up your house and walk away with it?
No. Well, thanks for helping me find stuff out and for showing me all these cool habitats.
No problem. Thanks for coming out and hanging out in my office.
Now I'm here with these guys to ask them if they could be any animal in any habitat, what would it be?
Fish in the ocean. Cat in the volcano.
A shark in the ocean.
Lice in somebody's hair.
A rabbit in the forest.
A snake on a beehive. A pterodactyl living in a tree.
Whoa! What does it look like? And I personally would be a copycat, living in a photocopier, because then I can photocopy everybody's photocopies.
That was a good one.
Some habitats can be very challenging, so today I'm making some challenging environments in My Great Challenge! Welcome to My Great Challenge. Today, my great challengers are Kaylee, Nico, Jeremy, and Alana. So you two will be Team Polar Bear and you two will be Team Zebra. Have you ever gone to the Arctic?
No.
Well, today, you're going on a trip there, as well as to African savanna and an ocean tide pool. There are 5 spots for each habitat. You have to put a different animal on each spot in the habitat you think it belongs in. So you guys will have 2 minutes to complete this challenge. Team Zebra, you'll be first. Team Polar Bear, you guys can go downstairs and have some broccoli with my mom. Here are the animals that you can use. You have 2 minutes, starting now. Go!
I think this goes in the African jungle. I'm not sure, that looks like a sea monster. I think this goes here. Tiger fell. Like a polar bear. Is the rabbit going anywhere? The rabbit's cute. Why is there dinosaurs here? This goes in the African jungle. Goes. Kangaroo goes there too. Ew, it's sticky. Is this an otter? Otter. Is this a wiener dog? Yeah. I like wiener dog. Hey, this goes over there, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure about this red fox if it goes in the Arctic. I don't know, maybe. Sea monster. Did the bees go anywhere? They're gonna sting you. I don't know, but I
just
think
put this button here.
Okay, time's up. So here are your results. In the Arctic, you put 2 seals, but I asked for a different animal for each habitat. You could have put the other seal in the tide pool. They can live in both habitats. So that's 1 point gone, so you have 4 there. African savanna, there's no kangaroos there.
Silly
They live in Australia.
Yeah, in the ocean tide pool, there are no whales in the ocean tide pool. And also, there are 3 bees here because each bee can live in all these habitats.
I didn't want to put a bee. I don't like bees.
Okay, well now it's Team Polar Bear's turn. So you have 2 minutes, starting now.
No, wait.
The starfish. There.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious. Put that there. This probably goes in the savanna.
Yep. Go. What about this?
That?
It probably goes.
No, I think. Well, yeah, probably.
Savannah?
Yeah, savanna. This might go in the savanna.
No.
We have some disagreement here on one of the animals.
Savannah?
Yes. Polar bear in the Arctic.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can put. What about the otter? That goes here.
Okay, whatever.
Otter with a fish in his hand.
Using some logic.
I think this goes in the savanna because when I did my presentation, he said this goes in the savanna.
Okay.
Last few seconds.
Savannah.
I think this might go in the Arctic because it's white.
5 seconds.
Put this there. Put this there.
3, 2, and time's up. So you guys had 3 wrong. Let's see how Team Polar Bear did. We have 2 right in the Arctic, but they didn't fill the other 3. The kangaroo in the savanna, same thing as Team Zebra. It's not right. And the whale in the tide pool, that's also wrong. It's too big to live in the tide pool. They also got that one wrong. So you guys have 3, 4, 5 wrong. So Team Zebra is our winner.
Yeah!
Well, thanks for playing my great challenge.
You're welcome.
Why don't dolphins live on land?
I checked, and what I found out is pretty amazing. At one time, dolphins, or at least their ancestors, did live on land. Some scientists think that certain fish got very ambitious and learned to adapt to a habitat that included land. They evolved legs and lungs so that they could live on land as easily as in the water. Scientists think that those creatures evolved into other creatures that like to eat meat. It made an interesting adaptation to its habitat. It discovered that hiding under the water where other animals came to drink was a good way to get a meal. While they were down there waiting, the creatures discovered something else tasty to eat there. Fish! Yum, yum. Over thousands and thousands of years, the creatures evolved to be even faster in the water, and eventually their feet turned into flippers, and some scientists think they evolved into the dolphins we know and love today. With their flippers, dolphins can't walk on land like their ancestors could, even though they still need to breathe air like we do. Excuse me, see you at the beach. Here's a question from Patrick.
Who killed the dinosaurs? A meteorite or a volcano?
Very interesting question. One day, while they were out for a walk,
oh, this habitat is great. There's lots of room and shelter. Have you tried the vegetation?
I have. It's very delicious, and the water is good too.
Harold, is that your stomach rumbling? You really shouldn't eat so fast.
No, it was not me.
And what is that low rumbling sound? Oh, it's a volcano! Run! Run for it!
Was it a volcano, or was it a meteorite? To find out the answer, I've invited a special guest. He knows about extinction events and even where the dinosaurs went. Please welcome Dr. Hans Larson. Hi, Dr. Larson. Whoa, ferns. Patrick was wondering if volcanoes or meteorites killed the dinosaurs, and you brought ferns. This is getting pretty weird.
A little like you.
So, Dr. Larson, you're not saying that the plants killed the dinosaurs, are you?
Well, the plants didn't kill the dinosaurs directly, but something killed the plants. For some hundred thousands of years before the dinosaurs went extinct, there was a supervolcano erupting in India. Like ginormous in size, lots and lots of eruptions going on.
So I guess the volcano spewed out a ton of ash and that covered the sky, right?
Well, and this was a supervolcano, like probably covering the sky for the whole planet.
Wow.
And that may have kind of primed or got things ready for an extinction by sort of cooling down the planet, making it a little bit dimmer. But then exactly 65.5 million years ago, a meteor the size of a large city crashed into the Yucatan Peninsula just off the shore of Mexico, made a crater 180 kilometers wide and about 80 kilometers deep.
So there's probably like smoke everywhere and everything?
Yeah, smoke, heat, earthquakes, shock waves all across the planet. And then it also lifted up everything into the sky. And so blocking out the light.
So there's no sun?
No sun.
But can't they just eat in the dark? Because the power went out at my house once and we still did that.
Yeah, but how many days?
Just for one.
Right, and so with this kind of stuff going on 65.5 million years ago, it probably lasted for many years, maybe 10,000 years of very little sunlight. So all the plants were decaying and molding and rotting. So these guys, you can throw them away.
No more plants, yeah, get rid of all the plants.
So after a few years of that, maybe even just a few weeks, all these guys, all the herbivores died, finished.
They're done.
Out.
And what about the carnivores? They could just eat each other, right?
Well, they could eat these guys too. They probably ate them for a little bit.
Right.
And after some months or maybe a couple years of eating the carcasses, bloating, rotting carcasses of other dinosaurs, they probably fed on themselves too.
Right.
And then they went. So eventually we can put them all in the garbage.
So that's how the dinosaurs went then.
Probably.
I hope a meteor isn't coming for us.
Well, the next one's scheduled to be here in 14 million years.
14 million years, so I think we're safe.
For now.
Okay, thanks for being on my show.
My pleasure.
Thinking about dinosaur habitats gives me an idea for... Uh-oh, do try this at home. Hey everybody, how you doing? Not too hot, not too cold? Enough food, shelter, water, space? Cause it's time to play How's Your Habitat? Today, your challenge is to figure out what we humans need in our habitat to survive. So let's get right to it. Here's your first clue. If you said water, you're right. You can reward yourself with a nice cold glass of drinking water. But don't, because if you do, you'll miss my next question. It's got you surrounded, but you can walk right through it. What is it? Are you ready? Because if you guessed air, you're right. We breathe oxygen, and unlike most fish, we get ours from the air. Okay, next question. You can't choose not to have this one in your habitat if you want to survive for long. I'd give you a bigger clue, but it's not polite to talk with your mouth full. Get it? The answer is food! This one's got my name written all over it. Next question. It's something that lets you do this. If you guessed having itchy powder in your pants, you're wrong. Although itchy powder would make you flap around like that. But nobody needs itchy powder in their habitat. If you can do what I just did without bashing into anyone, you've got space! Okay, last question. Even if you're living under a rock, you have this. And no, I don't mean 6 legs. Unless you're a beetle, then you do need them. I'm talking about shelter! Yeah! That's a roof over your head. A place that keeps the wind, rain, and snow off of you and keeps you from getting too hot or too cold. And now, here's a question from Rivian.
Why do people pollute the earth when it isn't good for the earth?
Well, Rivian, your question takes me to... the Flat Earth Corner! Step right up, folks. Take everything you need. Why, this world is so big, we can't possibly use everything up. And don't worry about the forest. There's so much land out there, the animals can find someplace else to live. Chocolate! Bye, bye, bye! Bye-bye. For most of the time people have been on Earth, we thought there were no limits. We thought we could take as much as we wanted from the Earth and just throw things away. In the past, there weren't nearly as many people as there are now, so we could get away with it. We kind of polluted the Earth because it was easier than not polluting it. Sort of like the way it's easier to not clean your bedroom until you can't find anything you're looking for. Before, we didn't know any better, but now we realize that we can't keep doing that. Which leads me back to the question that began this trip.
Why is the world so important?
The Earth has the habitats that provide all the different basic needs of people, plants, and animals. Water, sunlight, food, space, and shelter. We don't know one other place in the universe that does that. Plus, we're already here. How lucky is that? Wow, Earth. Now I know why you're so important to us. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. I'm gonna take good care of you. Ooh, that was a close one.
Whoa, this lump of coal is hard. You're probably wondering why I'm trying to squish it anyway. Well, it's because of a question I got from Benjamin.
When you squish a piece of coal, how does it turn into a diamond?
How does a piece of coal turn into a diamond when you squish it? I don't know. I don't even know if it's possible. But coal is carbon, and diamonds are carbon. So, I'm gonna find out the answer because if I can turn this coal into a big sack of diamonds, yes, I'm rich. I'm rockin' rich.
Diamonds are one of the most valuable rocks in the world. Kings used to put them in their crowns, and today they're used in fancy jewelry. The most famous diamond in the world is called the Hope Diamond. It's supposed to have a curse. Diamonds are hard to find though, so if I want to have some, I'll have to make them.
I guess I have to do more research. Meanwhile, here's a question from Madison.
What's the difference between rocks and minerals?
I checked, and rocks are made out of minerals, but minerals aren't made of rocks. Wait, what? How can rocks be made of minerals, but minerals aren't made of rocks? Do scientists have rocks in their head? Brain getting warm, brain starting to go volcanic? You're gonna make my head explode!
It might sound confusing, but I checked and it works sort of like this. Minerals are like the parts of a sandwich. The bread is just bread, lettuce is just lettuce, the cheese is just cheese, and the tomatoes are just tomatoes. But if you put them all together, and you make a sandwich. And this one's got my name on it. That's good too. Rocks are like the whole sandwich. Put some minerals together, and it's a rock. Also, don't talk with your mouth full, especially if you're doing a television show. Now here's a question from Leo.
How does a rock become a rock?
How does a rock become a rock? Let's answer it with some hard rock. Rock cycle, time to get down. Rock cycle down in the ground. When the pressure starts, then things get hot. You're gonna get molten rock. Smushed up minerals all combined to make the different rocks you find. Mountains are born, then they get worn down. New rock, old rock, switches around. In the rock cycle. Yeah, rock on. Rock it out. Now here's a question from Munir.
How many kinds of rocks exist in the world?
I don't know, Munir, but I know someone who does, and he rocks. Please welcome Matt Herod. Hey, cool rocks.
Oh, thanks, Harrison. They rock.
Rocks! So how did you get started into collecting rocks?
So I started when I was 10. I was given a little kit of different minerals as a Christmas present, and that got me really interested in learning all about rocks, reading all about them.
Okay, so to answer Munir's question, how many rocks are there in the world?
So there are 3 types of rocks on Earth. There's igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. Igneous rocks form when we melt other rocks, like in a volcano or something. This rock has quartz, feldspar, and mica.
Wow, so that could have come out of a volcano?
That's right. When this rock cooled, those 3 minerals formed. This is a sedimentary rock, and you can see it's just like a big bunch of mud all hardened together. Sedimentary rocks form when we break apart other rocks, and the sand or the mud that forms washes down a river, and eventually it settles down, and then eventually it hardens to form a sedimentary rock. The final type of rock is metamorphic rocks, and they're formed when we take an igneous rock or a sedimentary rock and we bury it really, really deep in the earth.
I found out that it's super hot in the middle of the earth. So these kinds of rocks melt down there and get squished together, right?
Exactly. All that heat and all that pressure causes it to change into a metamorphic rock.
So that's 3 ways that rocks can get made. But how many kinds of rocks are there altogether?
Well, when we change the way that they form, different conditions, we can get all sorts of different combinations and make thousands of different types of rocks.
This is your collection of rocks here. Is this your full collection?
No, I have so many more rocks back home. I haven't filled up my attic, but I certainly filled up the basement and the garage.
Well, Tatiana had a question about some rocks that are out of this world.
Are rocks different on other planets than Earth?
That's a great question. Some rocks on other planets are a lot like the ones we find on Earth. Others are completely different. So today I brought with me a sample of a meteorite.
You mean a rock that fell to Earth from outer space?
Exactly.
Why are you putting that glove on?
Because the grease on our fingers can actually contaminate the outer surface of that meteorite, or ruin it if scientists want to analyze it. So here's the meteorite I brought. And you can see on the outside, it's all burned and brown.
Yeah.
Like I just took it out of my oven. But that's actually from when it flies through the Earth, it starts to heat up, and then it gets this outer brown color on it. That's called the crust. So this meteorite's been cut in half, and we can see that the inside is all speckled with different types of minerals inside.
Munir, Matt says that the rocks astronauts brought back from the moon and the ones that were studied on Mars show us that rocks from space can be different from ours on Earth. But scientists think that the minerals they're made out of are the same everywhere in the universe.
In fact, we believe that there might even be a planet that's made of diamonds.
A planet made of diamonds? If you found that planet, you'd be so rich.
Yeah, it's really, really far away, though.
That reminds me of a question from Malinka.
Why are some rocks worth more than others?
Yeah, so why are some rocks worth more than others?
So the first reason is rarity. If it's really hard to find, and if there's not very much of it, then it's going to be worth more. The second is if it's really useful. If it's a mineral that can be used for something to help people, then it's going to be worth more.
Oh, I heard iron ore helps make steel, which is used to build things like bridges and cars. Is that why it's worth more?
Exactly. And the third reason is it costs more to get out of the Earth, then it's going to be more valuable.
That's why diamonds are so expensive,
That's right. Diamonds are really hard to get out, they're really rare, and they're both pretty and desirable and useful.
Cool. Can you stick around to help me find more stuff out?
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome. Now here's another question. This one's from Gianni.
What do you use rocks for?
So Gianni asked me what rocks and minerals, like metal, are used for. I thought of some answers, but I was hoping these guys could help me figure out some other things that are made out of rocks.
Pyramids, railings, earrings, fences, houses, garbage cans.
Golden medals, like for the Olympics.
The kettle that you make tea or coffee in. Cars and some lamps. Watches and lampposts. Cement. Pots, pans, statues, wedding rings, TVs. Almost everything are made out of rocks.
Wow, you sure use a lot of rocks. So Gianni, to answer your question, looks like we couldn't get by a single day without using rocks.
That's a lot of rocks!
Here's a question from Victoria.
I like to have some gold. Where can I find some?
The Flat Earth Corner!
In medieval Europe, scientists called alchemists thought they could actually turn common metals like lead into expensive metals like gold. They thought all you had to do was add mysterious chemicals and... Ta-da! Huh? Nothing happened.
Wait, that was the chemical for my invisibility potion. You can still see me. Good. Okay, so now you take a little sprinkle of this and turn the cheap piece of lead into priceless mess.
For hundreds of years, people thought they could make gold out of cheap metals like lead, but it didn't work. Actually, Victoria, there's a lot of gold in the world, but it's usually mixed in with other stuff in very tiny amounts. In a gold mine, they mine tons of rock and take all the little bits of gold out of it. Another way miners find gold is by panning for it in streams.
And that's today's
My Great Challenge!
All right, today my challengers are Zach.
Yeah!
And Brianna.
Woo!
You're gonna pan for gold like real miners. Also, Matt came in because he helped me build a stream.
Streams are a great place to find gold. Gold, when it washes out of rocks, is so heavy, it washes down streams and it sinks to the bottom and gets caught in the sands and the gravels. So then all you have to do is come and scoop it out. And look what I brought with me.
Whoa! Did you find that in a stream?
I wish. I had to chip this out of a rock. This is a mineral called pyrite, or fool's gold, and it looks just like gold. And it's even fooled some miners in the past.
All right, so we don't have pyrite for you, but we have actual real fake gold for you to find. Are you pumped to find real fake gold?
Yeah! We're gonna get fake rich!
All right, take your positions. You'll have 2 minutes to pan all of this water and find as much gold as you can. The one who finds the most gold will be the winner. Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go!
That's right, guys. Swirl that water around and find the gold.
Getting a lot of sand there, Brianna.
Swirl, swirl.
I need water. It's cold. It's cold.
You really need to get a lot of water so you can
Yeah.
get rid of the sand, right? And find the gold.
That's right.
Brianna's got some. She's off to a great start. She'll be fake rich in no time. And Zach has some too, but he's got some catching up to do. Remember, the more you swish, the more you can fake rich.
That gold is super heavy. It's always at the bottom of the pan. Get more, get more, get more water. Keep going, keep panning. More water, that's the trick.
Brianna's looking for that buried treasure.
Look at that.
Zach's got some more. He might be catching up. Brianna likes to dig through the sand to find her gold. Zach has a different way of doing it. He likes to swirl the water around.
It's all technique.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Oh, I had this. That's not even gold. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, well.
So close.
You dropped it.
All right, let's see who got the most gold. Zach, let's weigh yours. 11 grams.
Whoa.
How much would that be worth if it was real gold?
That's like $500.
My precious.
And Brianna, let's weigh yours. 26 grams.
Whoa!
That's like $1,100 of real money.
You're the winner.
Yes!
Congratulations. But I guess you both win because you get to keep the real fake gold.
Okay.
So would you guys like to do this all day for your job? Pan for gold?
No, thank you. Because then I just keep it.
And then it'd be real gold, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for playing. Now here's a question from Joseph.
How do rocks grow?
Rock-a-bye, baby rocks. Come on, little baby rocks. Grow! Grow!
I've been watering these rocks for days now, but still nothing. I bet you think this is silly, but there really are types of rocks that do grow. Can rocks grow? To find out, I'm going deep inside some caves. And to show me around, here's Riles Forest. Hey, Riles.
Hi, Harrison. You excited to go caving today?
Yeah, so where are you gonna take me?
Trevor and I are going to show you through Riverbank Cave, which is the deepest cave here at Horn Lake. Let's go caving.
Sure, but what about non-rocky things like bats or bears or something?
Don't worry, we won't find any, except for maybe some moths, cave crickets, or spiders.
I wonder if there'll be diamonds. Can rocks grow in there?
Yeah, we're going to see some pretty cool different things. I'll show you. I think caving's really cool that you can go in a place that not many people have been in before, and you can explore different places and have crazy adventures sometimes. You never know what's around the corner.
This is a cool ladder. Woo! Ah. This is so cool. Wow. Can you see rocks growing in here?
All this white pretty stuff you see hanging from the roof and on the walls, you can always see them growing. It's called calcite. So it's when the water flows through the cave and then picks up bits of calcium. And the rock has the calcium because it's made of dead sea animals, their shells and bones. So when the water picks up the calcium and then drips from the ceiling, it'll leave a little ring. And then over years, it'll build up and then get longer and longer.
And that's like a stalactite, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then if it still has some calcium left, it'll drip onto the ground and form a stalagmite.
Stalagmite, stalactite. So how can you tell the difference between them?
Stalactites stick tight to the roof. Stalagmites might reach the top one day. Or C for ceiling, G for ground.
Cool.
And then when they connect, they form a column.
A column. So that would be from like the floor all the way up to the roof.
Yep.
It doesn't look like they're growing right now.
But they are. They grow 2.5 centimeters every 100 years.
Wow. That's not very
And
that's
that's
not very
the
fast.
fastest one.
Oh, that's the fastest one?
Yeah.
So we won't be able to see them grow with our eyes.
No.
Still really cool.
There's also lots of other calcite formations, like draperies, bacon strips. There's a cave crocodile. A cave wolf. It's amazing, all the different ones.
Yeah.
I got one other cool thing to show you. Come on.
Cool. There we go. There's water!
There's water! Waterfall water. Yeah, so this formation we're coming up to is called the Ice Cream Waterfall. It's actually 3 stories tall.
Wow, this is so cool. Oh, and it looks like there's diamonds.
Don't touch it. If you touch it, it'll kill it because calcite is like crystals, kind of. So when the water flows through with the calcite, it'll catch on the crystals and keep building up bigger and bigger. But if you touch it, it'll break them down, and the oils from your skins will break them down. So if you touch it, it can't grow anymore.
Oh, that's no
You
good
pretty
then.
much kill it.
Oh no. The crystals look a lot like diamonds. Are you sure they're not diamonds?
I'm sure.
Is there diamonds in caves though?
Some caves in other parts of the world, you can find diamonds, but not in these caves.
Darn. So you wouldn't happen to know how to squish coal into diamonds, would you?
No, sorry.
Darn. Well, thanks, Riles, for being on my show and showing me all these cool caves.
Thanks for being interested into caves.
Oh, and I know one more thing that caves and rocks are really good for. Having fun. So it turns out that rocks really can grow. And that's the subject for today's... The Experiment. I'm going to see if I can grow my own rocks the same way they grow in a cave. I have 2 jars of water here in which I am dissolving Epsom salts. Then I'm taking this string with 2 weights attached to each end so that it'll sink to the bottom of each jar. Then I'm gonna slide this plate underneath and wait. As you can see, a week later, I've grown some stalactites and the start of some stalagmites. Pretty cool. Going to the caves with Riles was pretty fantastic, but I still want to turn coal into diamonds. So I'm trying to squish it using these elastic bands. In a minute, I'll reveal it and then answer the question that started me on this rocky road.
When you squish a piece of coal, how does it turn into a diamond?
Well, Benjamin, the big answer is... it's just coal. Sorry, Benjamin. But if there's any way to turn this into a diamond, I bet I know who can tell me. Hey, Matt, I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Harrison.
I was trying to make diamonds out of this coal because I heard people can do it, but I couldn't do it.
Well, it takes a lot more than rubber bands and hope to make diamonds out of coal, Harrison.
Surprise! Matt says that most diamonds are not made from coal. They're actually made from other kinds of carbon material, deep underground under very high temperatures and pressures. But now, scientists have found a way to make them in special labs.
The way they do it is they take carbon, like coal, and they heat it and they squeeze it at tons of pressure and heat, and they try to simulate the same conditions that we see in nature.
And voila, man-made diamonds. Are synthetic diamonds like that worth as much as real diamonds?
No, there's no replacement for nature.
Well, thanks for helping me find stuff out, even though you couldn't help me make a fortune in diamonds.
No problem. Well, let me give it a try.
Sure. What? How did you do that?
Magic hands.
It's gone.
Rock on, Harrison.
Wow. Hey, Rocky, check out what happened at the cave.
So just remember, if you're going down and you kick a rock down, just remember to yell, rock, so that everybody below you knows not to look up when the rock's falling down.
Hey, you know what? This is really cool. This rocks. This rocks.
What? Rocks?
Sorry, I was just getting really excited about the rocks.
Oh, okay.
See you next time for more finding stuff out.
My dad and I were just trying to make cookies, and this happened. I was just trying to cook up an answer for Audrey. Why does heat cook food? It's pretty amazing if you think about it. If you add flour, eggs, sugar, butter, and some other stuff, and you put a little heat in it, you get this. But if you heat it a little bit too much, you get this. How does heat do that? Maybe your questions about hot stuff will help me answer. Blech! Yeah, this is definitely burnt. Speaking of which, here's a burning question.
Why does some stuff melt and some stuff just burn when you heat it?
Well, Tristan, to answer that, show's all about hot, so ready or not. Here's my special guest, Shakib Rahman.
Hey, Zoe.
Hey.
I'm all fired up to be here to help you answer some questions about why some things melt and other things burn.
Is that why you brought the biggest chocolate bar ever? Are we gonna eat it? Please tell me we're gonna eat it.
Oh, we're definitely gonna heat it.
Wait, did he say eat or heat? Ice water? I thought we were supposed to be making stuff hot.
Well, when we're talking about hot stuff, it's important to remember that heat flows from something that's hot to something that's cold. Like this pitcher of ice water.
Oh, I get it. Heat flows from something hot like my hand to something cold like this ice water.
Yeah.
Let's eat. Eat the chocolate.
Do you see what's happening, Zoe?
Yeah, it's melting.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to become a liquid.
Why?
It's because the energy from the water is getting transferred into the chocolate. Just like when you put your hand on the cold pitcher of water, the heat from your hand went into the ice water. Here, the heat from the water is going into the chocolate.
Cool. Hot.
Exactly.
Oh, it's melted. Does everything melt at the same temperature?
That's a great question. But everything doesn't really melt at the same temperature. The chocolate has melted, but the glass bowl that it's in is still a solid. Same thing with the spoon that I've got in my hand here. That's still a solid as well.
Anything will melt if you heat it enough?
Well, here's where it gets weird. Some things don't really melt when you heat them. They just burn. I've got a little wooden splint here.
Fire!
Exactly. Some things will burn, and this is called a combustion reaction, when it burns instead of melting.
By the way, don't try this at home.
Some substances will do both. Cheese is a good example of this. First it'll melt, and then it will
Burn. And sometimes it feels like we're the one melting and burning. Neve had a question about that.
When it's sunny outside, why does the sand burn your feet?
Oh, it's a sunny day. I just want to play in my bare feet, in my bare feet. But oh my gosh, the sand is hot. I can't stand still, it hurts a lot. It's the sun's heat, it's burning my feet. The sun has heated up the sand, and now it's more than I can stand. It's heating my feet, it's heating my feet. Yeah, yeah, yeah! Hot! Ow! Yikes, this is really hot! Ow! Hot. Beach sand can get really hot. But if you keep heating sand all the way up to 1,700 Celsius, hotter than lava, something amazing happens. It melts and turns into a thick liquid, like taffy. And when it cools down again, it hardens and becomes glass. But heat can also be used for destruction! Camus, we have the same question.
How does heat make something explode?
Yeah, how come stuff blows up sometimes when you heat it? Shakib did a cool experiment with Jenna and Marco. The experiment!
Hey Zoe, we're out here trying to do our first experiment. Do you guys know how to make an explosion?
Yeah, take some fuel and light it, and it'll cause fire to make the explosion.
That's perfect. You guys know any examples of fuel that we could use?
Like gasoline?
Yeah, gasoline is a great fuel. It's actually a fuel that we use when we're creating explosions every day. Out here in the parking lot, we're surrounded by things that actually cause explosions all the time. The engine of your car has something called an internal combustion engine. And those cars cause explosions, and that explosion can do work for us. We're going to do the same thing here. Now remember kids, this is a very dangerous experiment. Please do not try this at home unless you are supervised by a professional like me. What we're going to do is take this tennis ball and launch it out of this cannon. I need you guys to take 3 large steps backwards. Good. Now what I'll do is add the fuel in. The next thing we need to do is put the tennis ball inside our cannon. Once we ignite the fuel inside the cannon, it's going to force the tennis ball to come out the end and hit that target over there.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was so cool. We use explosions for big stuff, like demolishing buildings or blasting tunnels. But if you can control explosions so only a little energy is released at a time, you can use them to make things move. Shakib has another experiment. It's called Gummy Bear Meltdown. Shakib, take it away.
First, take the special chemical that I've prepared and, very carefully, pour it into my test tube. The next thing I need to do is add some heat, and for that, I use a propane torch. This is very dangerous, so don't try these experiments at home. Once it's all melted, we can add in our last ingredient. Any last words, my fine gummied friend?
Wow. Who knew gummy bears were explosive? I'm glad they don't explode inside of me.
Well, they kind of do, actually.
What?
What happens is the energy from the gummy bear gets broken down in your body, specifically in your stomach. From there, that energy, all of the sugar in our gummy bears, gets used up to power your muscles and your body to help it move around.
of gummy bears, I got a sweet question from Amanda. When you heat sugar, how does it turn into candy? To find the answer, I went to meet candy maker Ling Gang. He makes special hard candies by hand, and they have little images and messages inside. There's little panda bears inside. How do you do that?
It's all about controlling heat. Come on, I'll show you. Today, we're gonna make some special candies that has your show logo in it.
Oh, the magnifying glass of my show. Awesome.
First, we have to mix the ingredients for the candy. Take the water, pour it into the pot. Now, pour these 2 bowls of sugar.
That's a lot of sugar.
No, the sugar glucose.
It's really goopy.
Now we have to heat the ingredients. The mixture has to reach a very specific temperature, just right, to make the perfect candy.
What temperature is just right?
I can't tell you the exact temperature because that's the secret recipe.
Oh, please?
No.
Come on, tell me. Tell me the secret. Come on.
Can't tell you.
I won't tell anyone.
Sorry.
Oh, come on, just tell me.
It's a secret. But I can show you a test we do that tells you whether the sugar is ready.
Okay, that works.
We drop the mixture into cold water to see what it does. So now you can try to touch the sugar to feel its texture.
Oh, it's really soft.
This is called the softball stage. When it's soft like that, it's not hot enough for what we need. So we have to put it back on heating.
After a few more minutes of boiling the sugar solution, let's see what we get. Oh, hey, it's hard.
Yeah, this is the hard crack stage. You see how it bends and breaks? This is perfect for what we need.
That's amazing. Just a little change in the temperature made the sugar way different.
Now we can make our little candies with it.
Cool. First, it's time to add color. The red sugar will be the handle of the magnifying glass.
And the orange is gonna be the circle around the glass, and this is the white background. We're gonna turn this pile of yellowish goo into a snow white color by stretching it on a hook. This process adds air into the candy.
That's hard work.
Pull. Yes. Is it hot?
Hard to pull it.
Yeah, now it's cooling off faster and faster. See how white it turned out?
Yeah. Now that all the candy stuff is made, it's time to put the pieces together. Lin Jen uses a special heated tabletop to keep the candy soft enough to work with. Wow, so much depends on everything being exactly the right temperature.
Exactly. That way we can control the shape. The heat is our friend.
This is where Lin Jen does his magic. He puts together all the pieces that make up my show logo, then wraps them all up in white and orange candy. Look at that. By using heat, Lin Jen is able to take a huge candy chunk and make it thinner and thinner. Amazing. These are so good. Thanks for showing me how heat can make sugar so much fun and delicious.
You're welcome.
This next super hot question is from Maya.
Why is it getting warmer in the Arctic?
It turns out heat doesn't just make stuff explode, melt, and expand. It can change something much, much bigger. Bigger than my house. Bigger than my town. Bigger than a whole continent. Bigger than the entire planet. You're gonna make my head explode! Ah! Yay! My next guest knows all about it. Thomas Ribeiro won first prize at a national science fair with a project to make electricity while getting rid of something called greenhouse gases. So what are greenhouse gases?
Well, greenhouse gases are gases that can be found in the atmosphere, and they could be produced both naturally or by human activities.
Thomas tells me that when we burn fossil fuels like oil and gas for energy, greenhouse gases are released into the air. Garbage dumps and burping cows make even more of them. Because they float high up in the atmosphere and trap the sun's heat around the Earth like a warm blanket, Greenhouse gases are changing our planet, causing floods, fires, and weird weather. Phew! How do the gases trap the heat?
Let me show you. These jars actually represent the Earth. Let's pour some water in both of the containers, seal them up, and zip a plastic bag around one of them shut. This plastic bag is representative of the greenhouse gases that surround our planet in the atmosphere. Now, we place it under a sunny place or bright light for about 2 hours.
So, now we wait.
Now that 2 hours have passed, let's take the temperature of the water in both the jars.
Whoa, it's warm.
Right, the plastic bag trapped the heat as the water was warming up. And the second jar represents the Earth without such a great quantity of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Let's measure the difference of temperature. (44.3 degrees Celsius). And what about the second one? 46 degrees Celsius. That's a 2 degrees Celsius difference.
That's a small difference.
Right, but a small difference can make a huge impact on our planet.
And that, Maya, is why the ice is melting in the Arctic. Thanks for telling us all about it.
No problem.
Speaking of hot stuff, where did those fire come from? The Flat Earth Corner! Beware, searcher, ruler of fire giants. Scourge of men and earth is coming to set the entire world on fire. He will wield his massive flaming sword, and no one will be spared. No one! So get yourself a fireproof vest and a rowboat and run for your life! We're gonna die! Pretty much every ancient culture, from the Vikings to the Egyptians, believed in some kind of fire god or goddess. But now we know a lot more about fire and where it comes from. So I think I found the answer to your question. In nature, fires start from lightning or from hot lava spewing from volcanoes. We humans can make fire with a match or lighter, by banging special rocks together, by mixing chemicals to cause an explosion, and sparking something with electricity. Noah has a question about another way to make heat.
Why do your hands get warm when you rub them together?
Oh yeah, friction.
Ow!
Friction happens when one object rubs against another. They heat up. That gives me an idea for... my great challenge! Veronica and Kiana, your team sleeve. Chloe and Daniela, your team toque. Yeah! Today we're heating things up with friction. Shakib over here has a thermal camera, which can actually see heat. Cool! I think they mean hot. For your first challenge is you have 10 seconds to make as much heat as you can by rubbing your hands together. Kiana, you will start first.
10, 9.
Shakib will measure the heat that your hands transfer to this board.
5.
Push harder!
4, 3, 2, 1. 26.2.
Pretty good. Okay, Chloe, your turn.
10, 9, 8,
Faster!
7, 6,
Push him.
5, 4, 3,
Faster.
2, 1. Put
Go.
your hands down. 30.7.
Okay, Chloe, you win. Yeah! 1 point for Team 2.
10,
Second challenge, rubbing sandpaper on wood.
7, 6, 5,
Push harder.
4, 3, 2, 1. 41.
Wow. Daniela, your turn.
10, 9, 8,
Faster.
7,
Come on,
6,
push harder.
5.
Look at that. In only 10 seconds, the piece of wood's room temperature is rising from 20 degrees to...
41 also.
So I guess both of you get a point. Yeah!
10, 9.
Third and
8,
final challenge,
7,
a pedal to the metal
6,
friction challenge. Friction
9,
makes so much heat
8,
that it can make a race car's
7,
tire melt right off. That's why cars need to
5,
put new ones on during a race.
3, 2, 1. 27.7.
Pretty good. Okay, Danielle, your turn.
10, 9,
Go, 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 go.
8, 7,
Faster, faster.
6.
It's 2-1. Will it be a tie, or will Team 2 win? They need to beat 27.7 degrees.
28.2.
That means Team 2, you win the challenge! Yeah! Thanks, everybody, for being on my show and helping me find stuff out about heat.
Yeah, that was hot. That's hot.
Why do we eat hot food? Good question. Why do we eat hot food? I found out that in prehistoric times, we humans ate our food raw until we figured out how to cook it over a fire. Eating food actually changes it, so it's easier to chew and swallow. Look how different the meat is before and after it's cooked. Cooking food also kills germs called bacteria, which makes it safe to eat. And some foods like chicken should never be eaten raw because it has bacteria that can make you really sick. Ugh, I would never, ever eat a raw chicken. Ask a friend. Hey guys, what food do you think tastes better cooked than raw?
I think carrots and potatoes and meat.
Meatballs.
I like cake better when it's cooked. Noodles.
Fish.
Cookie dough, because when it's like raw, it doesn't really taste good, and if you eat it raw, it like hurts your stomach.
I love frozen pizza. It's the best. So I found out today that heat can do incredible things. It can make stuff expand, or melt, or boil into a gas, or change it to something else, or even explode. I think I'm ready to answer the question that started my show.
Why does heat cook food?
The big answer is... it transforms our ingredients into something completely different. I found out that adding heat to food causes a chemical reaction. Heat breaks the ingredients down into a mixture of chemicals that feel good in your mouth and taste awesome. Unless you heat them too much, then they taste less awesome. Hey, I can put the candies inside of the cookies. Hey, Dad, get out your mixing bowl. I just had the greatest idea ever.
Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out. The show is simple. You ask, I find out. It's not rocket science, unless you ask a question about rockets. Then it is. Here's today's first question. It's from Joy.
How come weather just changes to other weather, like first it's hot, then it's cold?
Yeah, what gives? Weather's always changing and I don't know why. But by the end of the show, I'll have the answer to your question. Along the way though, there'll be tornadoes, snow, hail, and if my dad doesn't fix the washing machine soon, maybe even a flood. I'm going to start the investigation with the question from Hanifa.
How could the sun be out in winter when it's cold?
Yeah, come on, son. Either you're hot or you're not. Pick a side. Pretend this light bulb is the sun. Now, lucky for you guys, I did some research on the subject. Now pretend this is the Earth, us. The Earth orbits around the sun. The sun feels hotter in the summer because the part of the Earth you live on is tilted toward the sun. 6 months later, when the Earth has moved around to the other part of the sun, the part you live on is tilted away from the sun. So we can still see it, but we're not getting the full effects of the sun's rays. So it's not as hot. Next question.
How many kinds of snowflakes are there?
How many different ones? Let's see. They say no two snowflakes are alike. And they're only this big. I wonder how many fit in a teaspoon.
Must be hundreds. But when it snows, there's so many of these, you need a shovel to clear a path. That must be millions. And then you need a snowplow to clear your streets. There must be billions, or trillions, or bajillions, or gazillions, or whatever they call a number that high, and... You're gonna make my head explode! I don't know if bajillion's a number, but there must be a bajillion different snowflakes out there. But seriously, nobody knows how many different snowflakes there are. But I can show you some of them up close with my super zoom-o-matic.
Check out these snowflakes. They all sort of have 6 sides. Weird. I'm not sure if they're different or the same though. So let's see.
Different, same. Oh wait, no, different. Ah, forget it. I'd rather look at a bajillion snowflakes all at once than each flake one at a time, because that would mean snow day! Though I'm with Elizabeth on the next question.
Why can't it just be sunny all the time?
That would be amazing, Elizabeth. To figure it out, please welcome my special guest, TV weatherman, Frank Cavallaro.
Hey, Harrison, how's it going?
Hi, Frank. Welcome to my show.
Nice to be here.
Now, did you bring your thunder for the interview today?
No, but I got something else for you.
Oh.
Some snow.
Okay, so could we have sun all the time?
I don't think so, because there's always going to be some cloud cover around, so therefore it'll block the sun's rays.
So no permanent sun?
Actually, that's a good question. You know, there's going to be a time every year, I'm going to use the globe here, there's going to be a time every year for 6 months where the North Pole, as the Earth rotates, will have daylight for 6 months.
Well, I'm just going to move there.
No, hold on now. Doesn't mean it's going to be hot. But look at what happens 6 months later. The South Pole will get the sun, and the North Pole is dark for 6 months as the Earth rotates.
Living in darkness? I'll leave that to the mushrooms. Anyway, here's a question from Shakur.
My question is, why is there wind?
The short answer is 3 bean chili. But seriously, I found out that the sun causes wind. The sun heats up the land and the air, which causes hot air to rise. Then cold air zooms in to take its place. Hey, I should make a song about this. It could be a rap. Hit it!
Yo, hot air goes up, cold air goes down. That's when we feel wind on the ground. It blows around leaves and sticks and twigs. It even blows off my grandpa's wig. Land heats fast and water slow. That changes how the wind will blow. Yeah, wind will go just where it needs, 'cause air heats up at different speeds.
All this talk about wind takes my breath away. Hey, that reminds me, I can make my own wind. See? Wind. You can measure the direction and the speed of the wind using something called a windsock. Frank will show us.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
Here, I brought this sock for you, Frank.
We're not here to measure smell. We're here to measure wind.
Well, I think you can also do it with a paper bag, so you can try this at home. Here, show us.
Okay, let's try this. I'm going to use a fan in this paper bag. This is a light breeze. Anything over 10, 11 kilometers an hour is a light breeze. But watch what happens if we get a gust of strong winds.
Whoa, it opened right up.
And this could cause damage to branches, trees, roofs, and your hair.
Not my hair. Yeah.
Yeah, your hair. So Harrison, you may have noticed that airports and helipads, they have these windsocks there. You know what they do?
Yeah, are they those orange things, right? I don't know what they are, though, what they do, I mean.
Well, most planes will land and take off against the wind.
Okay. So that means?
That means that they look at the windsock, and that tells them which runway to use as they're approaching the airport.
So a windsock is the airport's version of our paper bag.
That's right.
So I guess if a plane is landing, they'd be facing that way, right?
That's right.
They'd come down. Meow. Okay, so what can kids use this bag for outside?
Well, you can actually go in your backyard and take out a bag on a windy day and put up the bag, and it'll tell you how strong the winds are.
And which direction,
and
right?
which direction. And if there's no wind, then look what happens to the bag. It just dies.
Well, Frank, I just thought of another thing you can do with the paper windsock.
What's that?
Well, if you blow it up with air, and then you can make thunder. Here's another question. It's from Ben.
Where do clouds come from?
I looked it up, Ben, and I made this animation to show you where clouds come from.
So these water vapors in the air grab onto a piece of dust. And when a billion of their buddies do the same thing, we start to see them together as a cloud. The air up there is colder, so the cold air causes the water to condense. Then these drops crowd together like it's a huge party and start bumping into each other. As the droplets bump together, they form bigger and bigger droplets, and then when they're too heavy to float in the sky, they fall as rain. Here's a question from Chloe.
How do weather people know if it's gonna be sunny or not?
The Flat Earth Corner!
How does a weatherman in ancient Babylon know if it's going to be sunny or not tomorrow? Astrology, of course. If I look up in the heavens, I can see that the moon is in Virgo, in the 4th house. Jupiter is rising. That means I predict you're going to get good news, win friends, and influence poultry. Also, it's going to be sunny and mild. Mars is activating my 2nd solar house. This can't be happening! Maybe I should have dissected a chicken instead. In ancient times, people used to use the stars and the planets to try to predict the weather. But it didn't always work out. So now we have high-tech equipment that helps us predict the weather accurately. Well, most of the time. Right, Frank?
Yeah.
I guess that's a sensitive topic for you. I mean, how do you predict the weather? Do you flip a coin?
No. We use radar, satellite, we have different data, computer models that show us the jet stream, the wind systems that are developing. We put everything together, and that's how your forecast comes out.
How come with all this high-tech equipment, you still get the weather wrong sometimes?
Well, Harrison, you know, Mother Nature's always full of surprises. The weather can change drastically, very quickly.
How can the weather change so fast?
Things happen. The winds change direction, brings in colder air, temperatures drop, then the warmer air comes in, temperature goes up. It happens.
Wouldn't you be able to see the wind changing directions and stuff with all your fancy high-tech equipment?
And most of the time we do, but there are exceptions to the case where sometimes the weather just changes drastically that the computer did not pick up. But we're getting a lot better. We now have long-range forecasts. We can tell you the weather 6, 7, 8 days down the road. But I gotta tell you, it's tough to do the weather sometimes, but it's fun presenting it.
Well, let's see how hard Frank's job really is with...
My Great Challenge!
Today, my contestants are Justin and Samantha. So today, you're going to be using your knowledge of wind, clouds, and forecasting to become TV weather forecasters. Think you can do it?
Yeah.
Okay then, Frank, please tell us how you do your job on TV.
Okay, guys, follow me. So this is where it all happens, guys.
It's all green in here.
Frank says he stands in front of a green wall when he presents the weather on TV. That's because there's a technical process that takes all the green out of the picture so he can put any kind of background behind us. Like this, this, or if you're a TV weather person, a map.
This is a clicker, by the way. Every time I press on this, a different map goes on. It could be a radar, a satellite, whatever I want to show. This advances my map, so it's all computerized.
So let's show the kids at home. So they see a map behind us right now, right?
That's right. They see a map, and when I click, the map will change. And you point.
Okay, let's do the challenge. Here's a map of the world. I'm going to be telling you different weather conditions, and your mission is to try and predict the weather and where it will occur. Now, there are 5 different weather icons: sun, snow, rain, cloud, and wind.
And I'll be asking you where to place the specific icon to a corresponding city. But here's the catch. The viewers at home will see the map. You won't see the map. You're going to have to use that monitor.
It's just like how Frank does his weather forecast. Your goal is to make as few mistakes as possible.
Okay, Samantha, you're up first. Justin, you can go downstairs and have some milk and cookies with my mom.
Yes, I got the fresh ones.
Leave some for us, though.
Maybe.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, first question. Water droplets have formed giant heavy clouds over London. What's going to happen?
Oh, Samantha's going for the rain icon. Not wasting any time.
Yeah, that's it. Good job. Okay.
Next question. The hot air over Thunder Bay is rising and cold air is moving in. Go.
Samantha's grabbed the wind icon. Oh, she's close. Not quite. Yes, she's got it.
Okay. Treble Cone is in the southern hemisphere, and it's July.
Well, Samantha's found the southern hemisphere, but can't seem to locate Treble Cone. And is that the right icon?
No,
that's not it.
Not right.
That one's a little hard.
What happens in the northern hemisphere in July?
It becomes hot.
What happens in the southern hemisphere in July?
It becomes cold. Oh.
There you go.
That's correct. It's snowing.
Okay. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. Go ahead.
Samantha's going for the rain icon again.
No.
I'll read the question again. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. What's happening?
Clouds.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. And that's it. Okay, Samantha, you're done. We'll send you downstairs for some milk and cookies, and now we'll bring Justin up and see how he does. Okay, Justin, now you're up. The first question is, water droplets have formed giant heavy clouds over London. What's going to happen?
Justin wastes no time in grabbing the rain icon.
That's right.
Next question. The hot air over Thunder Bay is rising and cold air is moving in. Go.
Justin's checking out the monitor to see where Thunder Bay is.
No. Yep, there you go. That's it. Okay, Treble Cone is in the southern hemisphere, and it's July.
Justin also going straight for the sun.
No.
Wrong icon.
Nope.
Listen to the question carefully.
Treble Cone is in the southern hemisphere. It's July.
Justin's going for the rain icon. Oh, but he changes his mind.
There you go, that's it.
Final question. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. What's it going to be?
Justin's got the cloud icon, but where's Beijing? And Justin's found it.
All right.
And now we'll get Samantha and announce the winner. Samantha, you can come up now. Okay, and the winner is Justin.
Yes.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now we have a question from Max.
Why are tornadoes dangerous if they're just air?
Yeah, how is air dangerous? I mean, I can just push it with my hands.
Well, Harrison, air could be dangerous. When the pressure starts going up and down drastically in a short period of time, it can cause some serious damage. I want to do a little demonstration on a tornado.
Okay.
And of course, tornadoes can cause some serious damage, as we all know. Look at that. The wind speed of tornadoes sometimes could hit over 400 kilometers an hour, over 250 miles an hour.
Whoa.
And the thing with tornadoes, they don't give you a lot of time to get away. They just pop up because the pressure goes down, the pressure goes up, and this is what happens. And that's why tornadoes are very, very dangerous.
That's crazy. Now to find out how dangerous tornadoes really are, let's talk to George Coronas, who's a real live storm chaser. He's out chasing storms as we speak. Hello, George. I see you're out in some terrible weather. You could catch a cold out there, you know?
Harrison, as a storm chaser, catching a cold is the least of my worries.
So first of all, I think the kids at home probably want to know, what is a storm chaser?
Well, what I do is I try to get up close to the most dangerous part of the storm and then send in my reports so that people downstream of the storm can get those reports and hopefully save a few lives.
That sounds pretty risky. Why are tornadoes so dangerous?
Well, it certainly can be dangerous. It's not so much that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. pieces of debris, which could be branches, bricks, cars, sometimes even houses.
Wow. So have you ever been inside of a tornado?
I have actually been inside a tornado once before with debris flying around. It's a very, very scary experience, one that I don't want to do again.
How'd you end up being right inside of a tornado and stuff?
Well, sometimes a tornado will change its path. I'll be tracking the storm and it will change direction, and sometimes I have to get out of the way. It's a force of nature. It can be very unpredictable at times.
So what technology do you use to help you chase?
Well, I've got all kinds of technology here in my storm chase vehicle. I've got my laptop computer that has satellite and radar imagery. I've got all my radios that I can use to send my reports in to the National Weather Service, GPS, all kinds of gadgets. It's basically a mobile command center on wheels.
So I'm pretty sure everybody watching wants to know, where do you go to the bathroom when you're chasing storms?
When you're on a storm, Harrison, anywhere you can. Anywhere you can.
That's a little awkward.
Sometimes it is. There's not a lot of trees out in Kansas, so you just have to find a place, and it's not always easy.
Do you get any adrenaline going when you're chasing the storms?
Absolutely, it's a bit of an adrenaline rush, especially when you're up close to a tornado, when the wind speed can be several hundreds of kilometers per hour. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I got some kind of adrenaline rush out of it.
Do you have to ever, drive away or, run away from storms or tornadoes?
There's been numerous times where I've had to get out of the path of a tornado to turn tail and flee. I try to do a dangerous thing in as safe a manner as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, looking at the radar right now, it looks like I might have a developing tornado on the horizon.
Are you gonna go out and chase that right now?
Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to blast west here. I have a developing tornado.
Wow.
Hold on, let me get the radio here. Yeah, this is George K. relaying a message. It looks like we might have a tornado forming just to my west. I'm gonna try and intercept and get closer. Harrison, I gotta go.
Well, thanks for being on the show, George. It was great to have you, and I guess you have to go chase this storm.
Okay, I'm headed straight for the tornado. Stay in touch.
Okay, be safe. Bye. Whew, George sure does love his scary weather. Speaking of scary weather, here's a question from Samantha.
Why does hail hurt so much?
Ah, hail. The snowball's angry cousin. Usually a raindrop grows until it's too heavy, and then it will fall to the ground. Matter of fact, let's check back in with my buddy, the raindrop.
Hail is created when the raindrops, instead of falling down, get blown further up to colder air. The raindrops freeze into ice, get bounced around by the wind, and get bigger and bigger until they get too heavy and fall.
This means that instead of having a gentle drop of rain, you have a painful ball of ice. Ah! It's like waking up in the middle of a snowball fight. Watch these clips that George sent us.
On George's last storm chase in Nebraska, he found hailstones as big as baseballs.
Man, weather is no joke. I've found out a lot about weather, so I think it's time to answer
Joy's question that started today's episode.
How come weather just changes to other weather, like first it's hot, then it's cold?
The big answer is... there's lots of reasons.
The tilting of the Earth changes the seasons. Wind blows when the sun heats up the air. Water vapor forms clouds, and clouds block the sun.
But there's no clouds here today, so I'm gonna go outside and enjoy the beautiful day. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out.
Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where I answer questions like...
When I build a tall castle, why does it fall down?
I'm testing it out for you, Zachary. And so far, so good. Just have to put the last piece on and... almost had it. Well, Zachary, I guess I don't know why castles fall down when you build them tall, but by the end of the show, I'll find out, because thanks to your question, I'm building today's episode around structures, things like skyscrapers, bridges, tunnels, and houses. And here's a question from Emily.
Who made the first structure?
Well, Emily, the answer isn't what I expected, because the first structures on Earth were not made by humans. And no, I don't mean it was built by aliens from another planet. I don't even know if they exist yet or not. Anyway, it doesn't mean the answer isn't amazing. Watch this. Animals made the very first structures. Bees were making hives, and ants were making tunnels in the ground when dinosaurs roamed the Earth. Birds have been building nests, and beavers have been building dams for millions of years. So humans were not the first creatures to build structures. But it didn't take us long to catch on, which brings me to a question from Matthew.
Why do people build houses?
I made this cartoon to show why I think we do it. Check this out. Once upon a time, people didn't have houses to live in. Then our ancestors built simple structures, like this lean-to. It protected them from the rain.
Gronk nice and dry. Oh, Gronk getting toasty.
Shelters also provided shade when it got really hot out.
Oh, Gronk pretty smart.
Houses also protect us from the cold. Houses also kept our ancestors safe from animals that wanted to eat them.
Uh-oh.
Here's another question about structures from Alexander.
Why do we use bricks or wood to make houses?
To answer your question, Alexander, please welcome my special guest, Dr. Effie Boraz. Hi, Effie. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Harrison. I brought you something.
A hard hat?
I'm going to put you to work.
Work? Huh. So Alexander wants to know, why do people use bricks or wood for building houses?
Well, that's a great question. 'Cause historically, people would build with whatever materials they had around them. So if we had a lot of clay, then we would make bricks. And if we have a lot of wood, then we'd utilize wood. However, one material is more durable than the other. So to demonstrate this, I brought us some brick and wood.
Okay. They were the same size and weight before, but Effie soaked one of each in water.
I'm gonna ask you to weigh the dry wood first.
Dry wood first. 354 grams.
And now the wood that's been in the water.
Wow, it weighs 515 grams. That's almost like adding another half piece of wood.
So now let's try the dry brick.
Oh, it's heavy. 1.97 kilograms.
And the wet brick?
Oh, it weighs 2.047 kilograms. The wet brick only weighs a tiny bit more than the dry brick.
So what can we conclude from this?
We shouldn't drink water that's been soaking in wood and bricks for 2 weeks?
Well, other than that.
That we should use bricks because the wet wood's gonna end up rotting, right?
Right, because it's more porous, so it actually seeps up water.
So modern houses usually use brick because bricks don't soak up water and eventually rot. But if you want to build something really big, you need something else, steel. So that's why you use steel for skyscrapers.
Absolutely.
Effie told me that skyscrapers are made of steel because compared to wood and brick, steel is stronger and more flexible. A skyscraper needs that because it can get windy up there.
I'm gonna have you test that out right now.
Wood versus steel. Let's see what happens when I jump on them.
So let's try the steel first.
So I just jump on this. It holds, but can I really jump on it? Oh, it's a bit like a trampoline.
Right.
Imagine, I'm like the wind pushing on it.
Let's try the wood.
Okay. Oh. It broke.
Right. Unlike the steel that isn't as strong, so it broke under pressure.
Right. So does that mean wood is not as good of a material as steel or bricks?
Well, they all have their plus and minuses, and you can try that out now. So we're gonna build a tree fort.
Awesome.
I'd like you to saw this piece of wood in half.
Okay, I guess I should put my safety gloves on first.
Absolutely. I'll help by holding this.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Well, that wasn't too hard.
Nope. Now I'd like you to nail the two pieces together.
Okay. There we go.
Excellent. So now I'd like you to try sawing this in half.
What is this, steel?
Yep.
Awesome. Never mind a wooden treehouse. I can make a metal tree fortress with this. Is there a trick to this?
No.
I guess my dreams of a tree fortress are over.
Well, you can still build a wooden one.
Really?
Yeah, that's why wood is so popular with smaller buildings, because you can use simple tools to build.
And wood is still strong enough for a structure that isn't super tall, like a house.
Absolutely.
Will you come back later in the show to help me with my great challenge?
Sure will.
Great. Have you ever built a treehouse? I thought mine was going to be great, but wait till you see this treehouse. Every kid's dream is an awesome treehouse, so look up, way up. When I said treehouse, I meant treehouse. Now, this treehouse was not made by an ordinary kid. In fact, it was made by a big kid, someone named Tom Chudley, who's a designer and builder.
Hello there. Come on up here.
Sure. Oh, it's high up. Whoa, this is awesome. I'm in a sphere in a tree. Whoa.
So, have you ever been in a ball before?
I haven't. This is really cool. So why do you make tree houses?
Well, you see, I think people should spend a lot more time in the trees. I think if people spent more time out here, they'd probably have more love for the forest and protect it better than they do.
Tom gets his ideas for how to build his tree houses from the forest.
And a lot of it's mimicking nature's way of doing things, like nature uses a nutshell because it's a hard shell and it can take a knock. And then you hang nutshells from a spider web of rope that's nice and stretchy, and the spider's web still lets the trees move around.
Awesome.
It's using nature's ideas, kind of.
How do these tree houses stay up in the air?
These are the ropes that hold the sphere up.
Right.
And up there you can see where one of the tethers, the suspension elements, attached to the trees. Tension in the suspension ropes is what holds it up.
Tension? I really need some clarification on this tension thing.
Well, I've got a little model here. This is a model of a sphere hanging in the trees. When we put weight on this sphere, the elastics get a little longer. The elastics are in tension. Tension is a force that tends to stretch things.
So I can hang on these and they're fine, right? Because
And
of
you
all
put
the
tension on the rope and it lifts you up off the ground.
Cool. So I see you have some guest books here. Does that mean people stay in these things?
Yeah, we rent these out to overnight guests. In fact, we get guests from all over the world, and a lot of them leave great comments in the guest books.
Well, thanks for showing me around your tree houses, and thanks for being on my show.
Oh, it's been a ball. Thanks.
There's something else besides tension that keeps structures standing. It's called compression. See the arches on this building? You see them a lot in castles. The stones at the top press against each other, making the building stronger. All this talk about tension and compression gives me an idea for a song. Tension, compression, they help make structures strong. So buildings can be very tall and bridges very long. Compression means you're pushing and something's pushing back. Tension means you're pulling till there isn't any slack. Yes, tension, compression, they're what makes structures strong. So buildings can climb very high and bridges very long. Now you can find out for yourself what compression feels like. Uh-oh. Do try this at home. Okay, ready? This is how you can make an arch. And Jessica, Sophia, Massimo, and Kevin are going to show you how to do it. If you have a family member that's not too much shorter or taller than you, grab them because you can do this too. We're going to start off by taking their palms of their hands and putting them together. And then they're going to make a big arch. And they're going to start to move their feet back like Kevin's doing right there. And there we go. this is actually compression, so if I push down, oh, that's pretty strong right there. Ugh. Whew. And let's see how this one is. Oh, that's pretty good too. Oh. If you're alone at home, you can try this too by doing it against the wall. Thanks guys for helping out. You guys held up well under pressure. And here's another question.
How do spiders make webs?
Well, a spider web is a very strong structure. Spiders spin webs with the silk they make in their own body. It's amazing. The entire spider web is under tension. Tension happens when, instead of things pushing together, they pull in opposite directions. When the spider attaches its web to branches like this, the web is stretched between the two. That's tension. Just like the cables that hold Tom's treehouse to the trees. Now here's a question from Mateo.
How do bridges hold up?
When we cross a bridge, it's usually high up in the air, so bridges have to be strong, because you wouldn't want to fall into whatever's underneath it, especially if it's like what's lurking in. My Great Challenge! I say especially, because today on My Great Challenge, we have an especially scary challenge. Our challengers are going to have to build a bridge, but not any bridge over any old obstacle. It's a bridge over Dinosaur Valley. Today, I have two sets of challengers. Team number 1 is Massimo and Kevin, and team number 2 is Sophia and Jessica. Are you guys nervous to cross Dinosaur Valley?
No.
Well, that's good, because right now, we just have a boardwalk, which hopefully you guys can turn into a bridge. We're gonna need to suspend it in the air with something like a tower. What is the best material to make a tower out of?
Well, I would make it out of either concrete or steel trusses.
What is a truss?
Well, a truss is simply a beam made out of triangles.
Oh, well, I think we have an even better material today. Noodles and marshmallows. Well, better tasting, at least. So you have to make sure that your bridge is strong enough to hold up this Jeep full of paleontologists. The first one to build it successfully will be the winner. Are all of you ready?
Yeah!
Okay, and go. Both teams are starting to build the towers that will hold up their bridges. Team 2 has put the noodle through the marshmallow. Team 1 seems to be building the base of their tower. Good thing there's a lot of noodles. Team 2 is having a hard time getting the marshmallows to stand. We have some very complex engineering going on here with Jessica and Sophia. The materials are fragile. The trick will be finding the right shapes to make their structures strong. It looks like they're making like a tent right now.
Right, that might work. But remember, it has to fit the dinosaur underneath it, guys. Still a little short.
Oh, yes.
Team number 2 is having a little bit trouble of keeping their poles up right now.
Right. We have a stability issue.
Yeah.
And over there, it looks like we're making a,
triangle. Maybe they're taking note of what you said about the trusses, you know?
Right, absolutely, because the triangle is the strongest structure.
Team number 2 is adding more support.
Yes.
They're starting to do the triangle things. And
right, so these triangles actually help this stay put. Remember, guys, that Jeep needs to be stable.
No, it doesn't.
Team number 2 is looking ahead right now.
Looking pretty good, girls.
See, snap marshmallow.
Oh, we have a problem with team number 1.
How many more are you gonna snap? I don't know. You already snapped 3 and I snapped 2.
Arguments between engineers.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Team 2 is ready to test their bridge. But is it high enough to go over the dinosaur?
We're done.
You're done? Let's see. Will the paleontologists make it? I think it's good.
And they did.
Team number 2's our winner. Congratulations, team number 2. What do you think they did right with their structure?
Well, I'm really impressed by this. What they did is they utilized the strength of a triangle, and they did it multiple times.
So what was your strategy? Did you know you were going to do this right away, or did you kind of come up with it while you were building? Or?
We came up with it while we were building.
Wow.
So now the paleontologists are not going to get it too.
Yeah, the paleontologists are safe. Thanks for playing my great challenge, but both teams win a nice meal of noodles with marshmallow sauce.
Street smarts.
Everybody has a dream structure. If you could build any structure, what would it look like?
It would be a square blue yacht with my face on it.
A treehouse that has like spy equipment.
I would want a big black hole that nobody knows, and there's gonna be like a whole bunch of milkshakes there.
I'd have this big movie set that I could have a bunch of people doing a movie about me.
I would build this humongous transparent glass tube that leads to the moon. I can go to the moon whenever I want.
I'd build a nice, simple, cozy house just for me and my dog, but on Saturn, on the ring.
So it would be spinning around, right?
Yep, that's the most fun part.
Well, there you have it. Now we just have to find out how to build them.
Easy peasy.
Why do people don't live in the Tower of Pisa?
The Flat Earth Corner! Why don't people live in the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Because they don't know what they're missing. That's why. What a change from boring places with level floors. You'll always find your marbles in my tower. And if you buy now, I have a nice little unit on the top floor that I'm selling for 20% off. Did I say 20% off? I meant 50% off. And I'll include a parachute for every member of your family. What are you waiting for? It's perfectly safe. Or my name isn't Viotta Salvi, the 12th century architect. Uh-oh, I mean, what was that, Mama? Yes, Mama, I'm coming. Her Venetian blinds are stuck again. Actually, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was built as a bell tower, so it would have been very loud to live there anyway, if you could. But even if it had been meant to be lived in, you couldn't. Its foundation wasn't deep enough to keep it standing up straight. The foundation is the part of the building that's under the ground. And the ground there is also soft. So not long after they built it, almost 900 years ago, it started to shift. It took the people who designed buildings hundreds of years to learn how to make safe structures, especially really tall ones. That's why today, when we build skyscrapers, we dig very deep foundations to anchor them into the ground, so they can climb safely into the sky. Not like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And that brings me back to the question that laid the foundation for today's show.
When I build a tall castle, why does it fall down?
Well, Zachary, the big answer is... gravity. Gravity is what keeps us from being flung into outer space. So if I throw my drumstick into the air, it comes back down. Thanks, gravity. But the downside of gravity is that anything heavier than the air around us, like a castle, will fall down unless it's built with a lot of support. After many years, wind and rain and heat and freezing cold can weaken real castles and other buildings. So if we don't repair them, they might fall down. And in the case of a castle like this, it also has to do with something called the center of gravity. Remember when I asked you to try this at home? Your center of gravity is where most of your weight is, in a position where you're most stable. But if you shift your weight away from the center of gravity, you, or a structure like a castle, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, will become unstable, and I'm getting pizza'd! Of course, Zachary. In real buildings, they dig foundations and cement, nail, or weld materials together. That makes buildings really solid. Our homemade castles don't have that, so we have to be extra careful with the center of gravity. Now that I know what a center of gravity is, I can keep my containers in the center, so gravity won't knock my castle down. See? Yes! Ta-da! Oh well. I guess practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. I wonder if my neighbors have a beaver that I can borrow.